Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever ye may be.
Hi.
Everybody, does Nancy not look cute with her pigtails?
Yes.
Usually I've been coming with my pigtails and I was just like, oh, but I'm reaching around going, oh, I don't know where my other thing. I'll let her have, this is her pigtail day. So,
Yes. This is my little girl day.
if anybody hasn't seen the video, Nancy released one a few hours ago of a her beautiful peonies um, that she picked out of her garden and the wonderful, you know, cleansing shower Mother Nature gave her earlier. Just really a lovely, video. So if you guys can check it out, they're
I
just
look like a
absolutely
grounded
gorgeous.
rat.
Yes. But it's so funny because not long before that, Allison and I were talking, and she watched her puppy dog Scout today, and so I got to see a drowned puppy dog, and I got to see a drowned Nancy. They both got their beautiful cleansing baths today. So, but nothing feels good than standing out in the pouring rain, really, and
Well,
then
you
the
know, I
smell afterwards.
I haven't done it in such a long time. I used to love to walk in the rain,
Hmm.
and I got it when I got out there. It was just starting to rain, and then it started raining a little bit harder, and then there was this clap of thunder, and the heavens opened, and it was torrential, and I just laughed. I just stayed out in it. I was out there about 20 minutes. Everything I had on was soaked all the way to the skin. And I was so happy. It was wonderful. It was wonderful.
And twirling around in the rain and
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I didn't twirl. I just
Oh,
yeah.
hello, Fatima. Yeah, I was just sharing the chat. My mom had white ones in our backyard, and well, she called them snowballs too sometimes.
Oh,
So
uh-huh.
I don't know if they were actually something a flower called like a snowball or if they were just white peonies, but she called them her snowballs. But my mom had could grow anything. She had a green thumb, so there was always the rock gardens with the flowers, and then we had the plants and the lilac trees.
Well, my
So
my plants are very, very healthy. And one of the things,
mhm.
I don't know if you found this tree true, but ants are attracted and build their homes under the plants. And when you pick them, you have to watch out because there are ants all over them. And they thrive when there's ants because I don't know if it aerates them or what it does, but
Mm,
you know,
yeah,
so
yeah. Alison was saying, yes, getting stuck in the rain can be a lot of fun. I've gone out intentionally, and that's what I love. Rain is a blessing, and sometimes it scares Shan because Shan actually got caught in a thunderstorm, and he had to crawl underneath like a tree or a bush or something. It just came. I think it was Colorado or something. He said, and this lightning storm, and it was just boom, 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 boom,
mm,
all around him. So for me, I've always loved the thunderstorms, and when I would go out when the wind is just whipping it and
oh, I love it.
blowing around, and you hear the rumbling, and you get a little bit of the rain even when it does to pour, but I would love standing out in there, and he would get back in the trailer, get back in the house. He was afraid that because some people do get struck by lightning, but for me, I never had that fear.
Mm,
If it got sounded like it was a little too close, I'd be like, okay, Heather's in the house. But standing out there when that wind is whipping and my hair is blowing all around and you can smell the rain on the air and just, then you hear
yeah,
the rumbling.
you
So,
will
yeah.
like Shahad's
Hello,
concert.
Shazad.
Shahad
Shazad.
mispronounced it.
What's
Fire in
it?
the Rain.
Oh, yes. I love that song.
Yeah, yeah. I was
That was
watching.
one of
I
the few.
have a DVD of her concert at
Hi,
Albert
Dina.
Hall,
Yeah.
and I had it on last night. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, there were a couple lately. It's a lot of her albums just start to sound kind of like the same, just kind of whiny. Not whine. I know she's got a beautiful voice, but a lot of them are so many sad songs. But for me, my favorite song of hers of all time is "Rolling in the Deep."
Oh, I love
That
it.
song comes on and you just crank it, and I'm even getting goosebumps, thinking about it. And when we got the CD, it was just like, okay, where are the other songs kind of like that in that same? And it was just like, just like Black Horse and a Cherry Tree by Katie Tunstall, with that boom,
Mm.
boom, boom, that drum and everything. I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
yes. And then the rest of it was just this really poppy kind of like too sugary kind of. So, but there's a couple really good ones. Um, oh my goodness, my paternal grandfather claimed to have been struck by lightning as a child. This was in Spain. Yeah,
My
some people.
husband was struck by lightning. He was building a house for us, and he was in the basement, and
Wow.
the tree out the house wasn't finished, and the tree that was growing right beside the house was struck by lightning, and that lightning went down into the roots, and he was in the basement,
Oh
and
wow.
he felt it all the way up to his knees, knocked him down, but he was okay. He didn't have any burns or anything. But
That tree protected him.
yeah,
Really,
yeah.
because it was able to absorb. Dolly, Dolly, I heard you had a show today with Gerald, and it was a really great one. I'll have to check out a few minutes of it a little bit later this evening. Um, yeah, awesome. And yes, Nancy is Pippi Longstockings. Remember her, everybody? Oh my God,
Yes,
I
yes.
wanted to be her. I wanted to live in a house where I can go up and down with climb the tree because she was such a tomboy.
Uh-huh.
And that was me. My mom hair in pigtails or braids or whatever, and get me outside and and the trees and everything. So yeah, she was so free
Yeah.
spirited. So and flowing. Hello, Carmela.
Mm.
Carmela or Flowing was joining me. Well, they weren't joining us live, but we had another wonderful evening of poetry, and Flowing's been joining
Oh
us in
yes.
chat, and
It was,
Nancy.
I just love that on Sunday
Beautiful.
nights. I really do.
Me too. I wish now Nancy and I were talking about sharing pictures, and you know what? I can't find any real pigtails. My mom used to remember how you were showing. I'll let you go first, Nancy, but remember how you were pulling out that picture with your curls like that? My
I,
mom did that too.
I have a curl on the top of my head. This is a picture. I just have two of the baby pictures. This is a picture when I was a year old.
Oh,
And then the other one that I have is when I was 3.
see, yes, I have curls like that in my picture.
Yeah.
Almost similar.
Well, these are not natural curls. These she had curled my hair for the picture.
So I'm not sure where some of the other baby pictures went, but Nancy says I go pull mine out too. So that's Heather right there, with the little thingy on the top of her head. So there's me, and then with the pigtails. Oh well, our old phone, our phone number, one of our old phone numbers are still on the back of the picture card. Oh my God! And there's me with my mom used to be able to do that with my hair as
Oh,
well. So yeah, get me. I was showing Nancy pictures of me and my mom and me and my cousin
yes.
and we're actually Nancy. We want to share with everybody what you learned about the eggs in our
Oh,
mothers being in our
I
grandmothers.
I was doing some work, some ancestry work that I put in my Book of Shadows, and what I was reading to Heather this is a quote by Lane Redman, and this is what it says. This is pretty deep. All the eggs a woman will ever carry form in her ovaries while she is a 4-month-old fetus in the womb of her mother. This means our cellular life as an egg begins in the womb of our grandmother. Each of us spent 5 months in our grandmother's womb, and she in turn formed within the womb of her grandmother. We vibrate into the rhythms of our mother's blood before she herself is born.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it just blew me away. But
No, I don't have a picture of we called her Nani, which was my mom's mom, but Nani's mom, my great grandmother, Magdalena, I do have a picture of her, and she's the one that has the birthday, December 4th. And then when my mom got pregnant with my sister, my mom was scheduled for, the first week of December. She's like, well, you're going to have my great grandchild on my birthday. My sister came on the 5th. And then when my mom got pregnant 15 years later with me, she was hoping I would be born on her birthday. And I was on the 6th. So great grandma on the 4th, my sister on the 5th, and then me on the 6th. And I have a picture I would love to share that I was showing Nancy when my sister's first marriage, her first wedding. And so that is my sister. This was 1977. So I was 6 years old, and I think my sister was 17 or 18. So, and then later on, my mom took my sister's wedding dress, and because I want to be Princess Leia for Halloween one year, I didn't quite end up looking like Princess Leia. I more looked like a high priestess by the time my mom was done with me. But
I love that.
So I look back on that and go, boy, my mom knew she was tapping into either past life or, future life that was coming up for me. So
I showed Heather this one back in the day. This was in 1977.
I love this picture. That's Nancy.
That was in Sanibel Island in Florida, where all these beautiful seashells are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And because of my sister's first marriage, she was married to a gentleman in the Coast Guard. His name was Mike. During the summer of 1980, my mom and I got to stay with my sister in Michigan. And this was in Taos Bay. And I know Allison might still be in chat, but Allison, this is the house we stayed at.
Ooh.
And so this was the house. She had the upstairs. There was another family below it. And this was a working lighthouse. And then off this way here was, I think, Lake Huron. And but this was, April of 79. My sister sent the picture. So it must have been the summer of 79 that we went. But it took me forever to get to sleep, hearing that fog, and the light going in the room. But then by the time the summer was over and I got back home, it took me at least a week to get used to not being able to fall asleep and hearing that. It was too quiet. So, but yeah, I still have that picture. I'm never going to let it go. Hi, Miss Taro D. And Kristen Louise.
Louise came in. In my video today, I talked about, it felt like I was a child again. And I was looking through my pictures, and I wanted to be the first person that did a snow angel with my granddaughter. She's 8 years old now, but you can't see her face. She was so mad.
Oh,
she was, let me say, you can't see her face, but
yes, you can. She was not happy.
But we've got to embrace that inner child from now, every once in a while.
And I've mentioned my brother in the past and kind of how things didn't quite, we weren't quite the family at one point I thought we did, but I do have a picture from when, you know, after around the time I was first born. So this is my sister, and her and I looked a lot. I look a lot like my sister growing when I was a little girl. This was me, and that was my brother. So now everyone's seen my siblings. So my sister and I are the only ones left from her and I's immediate family.
Oh,
So yeah, my brother's gone, but yeah, I wanted to share that. Rosanna. Yeah, Nancy and I thought, we might do a collective at the end, but just sharing stories and sharing pictures. And I think I'm going to share this picture next, Nancy. So I'm going to show everybody this. And yes, that is John Wayne. And this was a movie still from Rooster Cogburn and the Missus, also starring Katharine Hepburn. And if everybody takes a look at this young man right here, does anybody want to take a guess who that is? You probably already know. That's my Shan. He was an extra for a day, and he got to also meet Miss Katharine Hepburn. And she says, "Oh, you're handsome. You should be an actor. Are you an actor?" So I love that picture. He had a line. They took it out of the movie, but he's in there for a couple minutes, sitting on the porch. So I love that picture. I told Shane he threw out a lot of stuff. We're not throwing that one away. No. And just another quick picture. Me and my daddy when I first came home from the hospital. So yeah. Lots of pictures. Well, yeah.
bring back memories. Now we have our pictures on our phones.
Yeah. And I have a video. Shan's mom had bought us one of those camcorders when we first got, well, I think it was 2000, and let's see, she passed in 08, 07. I think it was 08. And so like the year or so before, she had gotten Shan and I one of those little camcorders, and we have video on tape. I hope it's still good. It's been packed away for a while. We're hoping to get it to a person who does the videos in the area, a video shop, and see if they can put it onto a disc or something where I have my Piper and my Lilu, and we have a video of Shan's mom and a few with Shan's brother, when he was still talking with us. So but yeah, so cool. I know, right? And what did Dolly say? I think we had that chair when I was little, that early American look. The chair. Did I have a picture with the chair? Okay, I'll take your word for it, Dolly. I've been pulling out pictures. So just making sure I didn't miss anybody. Oh, hi, Harley. I know I saw you come in here. I don't know if I said hi, but hi, Harley. The chair your dad was in. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was, my mom had, my mom got the furniture. She had the plants and, the whole 9 yards. But I think that was amazing what you shared about us being in our grandmothers.
Yes.
Because my Nana went through, not to be like a Debbie Downer, but my grandfather was not a nice man. He was from Italy. He was from Naples, and he used to beat up on my Nana terribly, and
yeah,
my mom and her siblings and stuff, and even to the point where his only son became extremely violent as well, and did some unpleasant things in his life, especially to my family members. So I'm wondering, it's interesting what memories or feelings that we carry, because now that I know that, It's like how much of what she experienced, you know, at his hands and while growing up, how much any of those memories or those traumas get brought into me and onto me, you
Well,
know,
see,
as we're
that's
born.
that's what is so important to connect with our ancestors, because um, we can heal some of those ancestral wounds. You know, we can work through it ourselves, do
Hmm.
shadow work. And I was just looking in
Is
my
it
book of
Allison?
shadows. I was looking. I had something about that, what you could do. Um,
Yeah, Dolly didn't know about that. She says, I had no idea about us being in our grandmothers, but it makes so much sense.
Harley said that she read the same thing that I did. I mean, that just absolutely blew my
Yeah.
mind.
She says, I can feel that on my mom's side of the family. But you know what? If we carry, you know, our mothers, grandmothers being in our mothers and being in us, then you know, our fathers, they provided the seed. So doesn't the
Yeah,
seeds carry memories and histories and you know, work, you know, from our dad's sides too.
yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I don't know about that.
Hi Ivana. Hello, hello, hello. And Allison said, yeah, exactly, an opportunity for healing. And she says, I'm very connected to my father's mother. Okay. Yeah. It's just amazing. You know, we have our DNA, but to go that far into saying, you know,
Yes.
we were
Yeah.
in, I mean, my goodness. To me, that's mind blowing because then it's like, if there's, because, you know, if there's that many, then it could possibly also, I wonder how many generations back of us that, you know, we carry from
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of the, yeah, not just the DNA, but ovary wise with that. Not just our you know, our grandmothers, but what about our great, you know, our great grandmothers, you know?
Well, I have some notes on ancestral work, and I there's not a whole lot here that, but one is honor your ancestors by living fully. Your body is the ancestral altar. Loving your body is loving your ancestors and saying thank you. Your ancestors survived so that you can thrive. When you heal your relationship to your father's lineage, you heal your relationship to the masculine.
Hmm.
Every time you speak your truth, it liberates the women in your lineage who had to stay silent. A woman armed with ancestral wisdom is an unstoppable force. You cannot become fully embodied while shaming, rejecting, or being disconnected from your ancestors. Trauma travels through family lines until someone is ready to heal it. Your ancestors and descendants celebrate every time you do the work.
Yeah.
So, you know, ancestral work is very, very important. And is there anybody in the chat that, you know, we were talking about what I read earlier? It's a very short passage. Did everybody hear that so that you know what we've been talking about? Is
Before
there
you go ahead
somebody that
and
doesn't
repeat,
know? Pardon me?
hold on, before you repeat that, Nancy, you were getting responses from Allison and Dolly. Allison said some of the crap that my grandmother dealt with showed up in my life and she handled it much differently. So she was able to heal that part, probably, you know, and ended it there. And then Dolly said, it blows me away that so much of my life mirrors my grandmother's life. And Ross, he said, my grandmother always said my grandfather never touched her. We had used to, oh, okay. Um, and then Dolly was like, yes, yes, what you were saying. And yes, and doing better. So, yes, um, ancestor veneration is a huge part of my spiritual practice. Okay, I just want to share some of those from what
Yeah, well, maybe everybody knows what we were talking about. That's fine, because nobody said they don't know what's going on, so there's no need to repeat it.
Oh.
I mean, I just wanted to make sure that everybody,
But you can repeat it if you want, because we did have a few people come in
Okay,
a little bit later.
Let me just see if I can find it here. It's a big old book.
Yeah, Rossi, different generation.
Yeah.
Though some people in my family are still repeating it, and it's just like Ivana says that she missed it and would, if you wouldn't mind to repeat it.
I'm looking for it. I will.
That's beautiful, Allison. Allison said, yes. My grandma, I stood up and walked away, refused to suffer. So I'm sure she's very proud of you, Allison. All the women are.
Yeah.
What, you want to come join us? Come here.
I know it's in here because I read it, right? Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Okay. I've got to be close to finding it. Ah.
Mm-hmm. And she says, I have pictures of my ancestors from 1967 and onwards, black and white, still great memories. Yeah, we had a flooding in the house that I grew up in, and we had to throw out a lot of stuff. And then after I left for Arizona, my mom lost the house. She got angry too and threw out a lot of pictures. So I miss the pictures of my daddy with his motorcycles and stuff. But I do have one of him when he was younger with my grandma sitting on the back seat. Aw, did you hear that, Mozzie? Ivana says you're a pretty kitty. And Allison,
I found some other stuff. Let's see.
Well, Ivana, basically what Nancy had read until she finds it is that they were finding that we actually began in our grandmother's wombs because of a woman having so many ovaries that they're carried on from the previous generation. So while I was in my mom, while I was in my mom, I was actually some of the ovaries that were in my. There you go. Okay.
And then I found something else about ancestral work. All the eggs a woman will ever carry form in her ovaries while she is a 4-month-old fetus in the womb of her mother. This means our cellular life as an egg begins in the womb of our grandmother. Each of us spent 5 months in our grandmother's womb, and she in turn formed within the womb of her grandmother. We vibrate to the rhythms of our mother's blood before she herself is born. That's a quote by Lane Redmond. And I have notes here on ancestral healing. Many people believe that there is no spirituality, ceremony, or sacred ways in their own lineage. So they believe they need to take it from others. Taking from cultures that are not our own without permission causes deep harm. And when we do so, many of our own ancestors also feel grief, pain, and abandonment on the other side. When you remember where you came from and connect to the old ways, wisdom, spirituality, and gifts of your own roots, it decreases cultural appropriation. Many people take from other cultures from a wound of separation. Imagine your ancient ancestors with all their powerful prayer, ceremony, rites, and traditions, and ways of honoring the sacred, watching you as you seek for this everywhere except within your own lineage.
Wow.
That's really profound, because it says your ancestors ask, when will she remember? When will she turn to us and our wisdom? When will she give us permission to step in and guide her to these ancient ways that live in her own blood?
Floyd says that's how connected we are.
Yes. The traditions and spirituality of your own lineage and your own ancestors is one of your most powerful resources for healing and profound spiritual connection. It is something that no other lineage can give you, quite like your own.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where your ancestors are from, there is a deep wisdom spiritually and earth honoring ways somewhere in your lineage. You have the ability to remember. It lives in your bones.
Wow.
Do your part in healing the wound of separation and cultural disconnection. Connect to the profound ancient wisdom, magics, rites, traditions, stories, teachings, and spirituality of your own lineage. And that is from Sacred Ancestry.
Okay, now the one that you had, because I know Flowing wanted to know. Now, Flowing, Nancy wrote what when Nancy read about the eggs, that was out of her BOS. Do you know what book that came out of? Or just
Harley, do you remember where you read it? Harley said she had read it too. It's just
okay.
A quote by see if I can find it again. I will look up and see if I can find
and if she can't, Flowing, Nancy can always put it in chat too, on the comment section too after the show. If it's too hard to find it. But that's amazing. And Jay, Majestic Tarot came asked a question too. She popped in and she says, I wonder how that works for twins.
Yeah.
Okay, say bye-bye. Time to get down. Go see daddy. Because I wonder if you well, I would assume that you still, even though the eggs separate and become two, I'm sure that you're going to be sharing some of the same eggs from the grandmother. So I would think, because of the way nature works, that would be gifted. I mean, especially if some women have like triplets, and some of them are quadruplets.
If you're speaking about identical twins, that right there may be why they have this connection.
The twins, because I think Jay, aren't you a twin? I think Jay's a twin.
The quote is by Layne Redmond. Let me see if I can Google this.
Wow. Jay says, I'm a twin, have several sets in family. What if the grandmother is a twin? Oh, wow. That's mind-blowing too. And that can be a lot of different cultures until we have our DNA, because I know a lot of people thought, and even certain people as I got older, asking my mom and I what clan we belong to, what nation, and we're like, we don't, not that we know of. And then I heard before my auntie passed away, she found native ancestry, but when I had it done through ancestry.com, they said they found absolutely none. So it's really kind of interesting how some of these DNA tests work, and just how far back, and maybe ours is so far back that maybe ancestry.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I found it.
Okay.
The quote that I just read is from Layne Redmond, Layne Redmond, Redmond, and it's from When the Drummers Were Women.
Oh, that sounds okay. Let me just type that in here.
And
it's freezing. Where are you freezing?
And
okay, my mouse just froze. There we go. Nope, still won't do it. No, my keyboard's frozen.
So I mean that's awesome. So you can I'm gonna get that book. And
Nancy, I'm going to hold on a second here. I don't know if my battery just died in my keyboard or if I was trying to type too
Here,
fast.
I can type it in. Let me see here.
I got Lane in there, but I have to be able to.
Okay. It's when. Let me. Whoop.
The women were drummers. Okay, does that help now? Nope. I'm going to go out and come back in and see if that helps unfreeze my iPad and everything. I'll be right back, Nancy. Not deserting you.
Okay.
Oh, it's not even letting me leave the stream. What the? Well, all I can do
I'm
is
having
talk.
a terrible time. Wait a minute. When the drum, DRUMMRS. Oh my. There's something about this. When the drummers were.
Okay. My iPad froze. Yeah, I can't leave. I can't do nothing. My iPad is not responding to anything that I'm touching. Oh, this isn't good. So how do I end the show when I have to? Oh, well, so further out, moving forward, people, I'm not going to be able to type or do anything in chat, so I apologize.
There we go. I just posted. There we go. The title. Oh, Dolly just posted a link.
Okay, so
Thanks,
Nancy,
Dolly.
I'm going to need for you to, keep an eye on the chat because my iPad is completely frozen. The only thing that is working on here is me being able to video with you. I can't, my StreamYard's not moving, nothing. And if I go to shut my iPad completely off, I don't know if that would cancel the show out and if I would be able to come back in. This is weird.
Yeah. So that thank you, Dolly, because she
or here, let me pull my phone. Shenanigans. I thought Mercury retrograde was long over. So Indigo Jaguar. No, I might as well go to that. Okay, so when this 24.95. Thank you, Dolly. Now I can see what's going on here on my phone. Oh, cool. Okay. Oh, so Lane Redmond is no longer with us in this world. Oh, okay. But what a legacy of information to leave behind. Well, Shazad, I'm glad you can hear and see me because, yeah, my iPad has decided to not work. At least the video's working. And I just love hearing Agador.
Oh, he's
beautiful.
He's a happy boy.
So who knows? Maybe if I burn some Palo Santo, smudge my iPad. Hey, you never know. Okay, Archangel Michael, Archangels of Technology, Communication. Help me out here with my iPad. This has been such a strange day. Alrighty. There we go.
Okay, I just bought it. But I went
you did.
I went to Thrift Books where I check on used books and I got one in good condition for $16.
Oh wow.
So that's what I do sometimes. You don't get it the next day like you do with Amazon, but look at the money you save, right?
Mm-hmm. Ivana, smudging your iPad can't hurt. No, it can't. All I have is a little blinking box here, and man, I must have zapped.
Well, that's strange. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? If you, when we end this, if you can't leave the stream, just turn off your iPad.
Yeah, I'm going to have. That's why I have to wait to make sure, because if I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that, I may not be able to get back in. And Nancy's like, "Help! I'm stuck in here." So I'll just look at my iPhone
Yeah.
and chat as we go. But let's see, we're at 5:41, so we're still doing good time. Um, was there any? Let's see. Allison also put a link in there saying, "Fun little fact mentioned next time Grandma's at dinner." Oh, okay. So she put a link in there. Um, so I'll have to check that out later when I can click on it.
A link for what?
It says, "Fun little fact
Oh,
mentioned next time Grandma's over for dinner."
oh, I see. Okay.
So, yeah, let's shut everything down. Maybe that'll help.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. That's neat, Allison. That's amazing. My great grandmother lived to be 101. She was almost 102 when she passed. I was
Oh
4 years
wow.
old. She got married when she was 14
Mm.
and she had 8 children. But after she got married, when her husband would go to work, she would climb up in an apple tree and play with her dolls. That's how young, today, 14-year-olds look grown. But back then, 14-year-olds really were little girls.
And they're still doing it to a lot of these young girls in these polygamist religions.
Yeah.
I mean, we came across a couple of videos of the last few months of fans being stopped and these girls being pulled out, and there's like 6 7 of them. And the oldest one of them, I think, was maybe 17 or 18, and she was like, "Yes, we're his wife." And some of these girls were like 12 years old, 13 years old, and it's just it's like ingrained in them the minute they're born. And so this girl couldn't comprehend that this was wrong and that this was an opportunity to escape. But to her, she was defending. And it just breaks my heart
Oh,
to know
wow.
that this is still
Yeah.
going on to young girls, and things that go on to young boys too, but definitely the young girls. And I think they belong to the Latter-day Saints. They're coming out from the Utah area, I believe. This video, they were stopped somewhere, and actually Flagstaff, right outside of town of where Shannon and I used to live, out in Flagstaff. And Allison said, "Oh my God, Nancy, what a powerful memory." Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was amazing. I mean, she quilted until she was like 100. I've got pictures of. I have one of her quilts that she made for me. It's this big. It has this great big star, and it's all different colored fabrics on white.
Mm-hmm.
And she broke her hip when she was 99, and she would sit in a chair and kind of scooted along to still do housework because she lived with her daughter and her daughter's husband, and she took care of them. My grandmother, her daughter, had severe rheumatoid arthritis, so she took care of the house. And he died when I was 4, the day after Christmas. And after we had his funeral and everything, grandma and great grandma were staying with us, and she was sitting on the sofa. And I remember her sitting on the sofa, but I remember the conversation because of my father telling me. And she said, "I'm really tired." And my grandfather's name was Orpheus Wayne. And she said, "Orph isn't here anymore for me to take care of." And she said, "I'm just so tired. I just want to go on, you know?" And my father was very intuitive, and he told my mother after grandma and great grandma went to bed, he said, she's going to die tonight. And the next morning when I woke up, great grandma was gone, and she had passed during the night in her sleep. So, I mean, that's a strength of will to keep going because you have a purpose. And then when your purpose is gone, you can relax and, but I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah, my the picture that I shared of my great grandmother, my great grandma, well, Magdalena, my great grandma McConnell, she had told my mother that that child's going to be something special. I mean, she loved my sister and my brother, but she told my mom that that child was going to be something special, and it's it feels almost kind of like pressure when your mom tells you that, because then you're like, well, what is it? Did I measure up? Did I, did I, fulfill? Is she okay with, who I am on the other side? And I was 2 years old when she passed, so I have no memory, of her. It's just too bad she could have hang around a few years more, so that I could have had, more of a solid, memory. But yeah.
Well, we've been talking about all this, and actually, really, what started it all was me, remembering, I felt like a little girl out in the pouring rain. But, it's all of this has to do with the divine feminine that we've been talking about, really.
Yep.
The divine feminine in our ancestors and in our own lives, and about how, to do the work so that your children and your grandchildren and your great grandchildren and great greats on that I will never see, but because I was late getting started having babies.
Well, that's okay.
But you do that work, and then you heal some of this ancestral pain. And, you can just picture, there are thousands upon thousands of ancestors who are watching us and have such wisdom, it's really amazing to think about it, to really think about it, and watching what we do. And
there's still a lot of people fighting for women's rights, and not just rights, but just women's respect for women. And I noticed that Shazad put in the chat, today's young girls are in TikTok, Instagram, and all the social media. And yes, and a lot of parents have to keep an eye on these apps, because there is a channel that I follow where there is an app. I can't remember off the hand what it is. But they went ahead and created a fake young profile, and they've been having people contacting and recording conversations that they think they're having with, a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, and then they set up a sting operation. They're not with the police; they're their own private investigation. And then what gets me angry is that half the time the police are like, "Well, there's really nothing we can do. This is kind of like a setup. It wasn't done through us." And they're like, "But look at there's the writings." So parents really need to be careful of what their children, the Snapchats and the WhatsApp, not the WhatsApp app, but there's another one. But yeah,
well, it's
they're
easy
really
to let the internet and the phone and the games on the phone and all the TikTok and everything babysit your children. To where you can have your head in your phone. It's crazy, and that's why from time to time I just have to get away from social media for a while.
That's why I'm taking a break this week.
We just need to I think I need to, for my own replenishment and edification. I love doing this, but sometimes we just need to be with ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
reconnect, make sure that the energy that we're carrying isn't from somebody else. Because sometimes,
Yes.
like after readings or so, when you have that many people, you kind of walk away and you're like, oh, and then you realize, why am I feeling like this? Or, whatever. It's like, sometimes I forget to smudge. Most of the time,
Mhm.
I don't forget, but there are times where it's just kind of like after a while, you kind of take on, even though you might have that bubble, there's still that energy is still kind of around, and you
Mhm.
really need to learn how to let that go. Know what is your, like Jay was teaching me, know what your baseline is. I didn't know what she first meant when she said baseline, and she says that's where, when you're, before you go into readings, when you're out and about and you're with yourself and stuff, and just
Huh?
notice how you feel. And then so when you're doing a show or after a show, when you start to notice your emotions and what you're feeling, then you know that, okay, this is somebody else's
Yeah.
energy and I
Yeah.
need to let go of. And Allison said, this is exactly, this is true, Nancy. Within us is the maiden, the mother, and the crone. Yes. And she didn't have her son until she was 32. So, and that's interesting because that's the age my mom was when she got pregnant with me. She went
Mhm.
10 years without having kids. And she's got to go. Yes, Allison is going to be doing her show tonight with Gerald. I think it's Mystic Floor this week.
Oh.
So have a great show, girl. I'll see if I can drop by in a little bit later. And then Shazah said, Iran, Nepal, and Somalia are some of the countries where TikTok is 100% banned, even partially in Australia. And TikTok isn't always necessarily a bad thing, but in a lot of those countries, the way they control women, I mean, they can't
Mhm.
go out without,
Yeah.
unless they're completely covered. There are women and men fighting against the having to be covered, and there's been so many men and women, murdered, still
Yeah.
standing up for women's rights in a lot of those countries. And yeah, there's a lot of horrific stuff being done to the girls in Somalia and those countries
Yeah.
by,
Um,
the
Dolly
extremists.
had to leave. Can you see that or it?
Oh, okay. Let's see here. It just popped up.
Mhm.
Ladies, this was a great conversation. You can tell, really tell a new moon is coming up. Got to make dinner. Oh, thank you, Dolly. Much love to you too. Um, China and Afghanistan, yeah, because they don't want people And what's interesting is that TikTok is actually based on a program that was created by with another software company by the Chinese government to help keep an eye on what people were saying, what they were feel, kind of like a watchdog.
Oh
And then they
wow.
took that program; those people took their program and then created what became the TikTok for America. So really, too, China kind of still owns and has connections and can probably, get into
Well,
and
you
see
know,
also with
my
TikTok.
daughter studied in China in Shanghai at the Fudan University for a semester when she was in college. Her minor was Asian studies.
Hmm.
And when she went over, I told her, I said, listen, you have to be very careful what you put in your emails to me because I
Hmm.
said everything going out is monitored,
Yep.
you know, and she was, but
Is that the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?
it is.
Oh my god, I love it. Oh, the little baby puffs. Oh my god. Sorry, everybody. I just like, yeah, Ghostbusters. We just saw the new movie.
Mhm.
And I'm seeing her going, oh, how cute. She's got a little. And I went, wait a minute. That looks like a little Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Mm.
But it just breaks my heart and it gets me so angry. And it's so hard to swallow it down, knowing what
Me.
young men, but what these young women are going through in other countries. This way, when people really get on about America and they're like, "Oh, we're going to protest this and it sucks here and everything." I'm like, look at what these young people, especially these women and girls, are going through in a lot of other countries. Our country is not perfect by any means, but at least we don't live under a regime that, so I give thanks to, spirit for, and, oh, this was something that was interesting. I hope people don't mind me bringing up, and let me know, Nancy, if this might be too heavy, you think, for our show. But I've been noticing lately that there's almost a bit of a guilt and shame that I have when I see how I'm actually free to live my life and be who I am and live the way I want, when I see other people in other countries suffering, especially the women. It's almost kind of like I get these moments of just, of almost guilt and shame. I mean, the gratitude is there that I was born here in this country, and I was
Mhm.
born to parents who, did not live by, you know, extremist, religions or ideals or anything. Um, and there are times when I feel like I have almost like a guilt, um, or sadness, because not everybody can have the kind of life that I have, especially the women, and know what it's like to be able to go to school. And if you want to have kids, you have kids. If you don't, that you don't. If you don't, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
take a lot of our freedoms for granted, I think.
we
And there are
do. But
times when I get,
I think it's important to embrace our freedoms as well, because that has to do with our ancestral heritage. A lot of our ancestors didn't have the freedom that we have
mhm,
now.
too. Yeah.
And so I think they're proud of us when we live our life with intention and with gratitude, and also being aware, of how fortunate we are.
Hmm.
I mean, we're incredibly fortunate. And,
That's
but a lot of times people just want to complain, you
yeah.
know, and,
And there are things to complain and fight for and stuff
oh,
here in this
of
country,
course.
but so many people don't realize you would not probably survive a day or a couple days in
Uh-huh.
some of these countries. And I just can't wrap my head around why there are still young women and men being, you know what I mean, especially the women.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why these people, have to live this way,
Mhm.
and why those who are ruling over them exist. And that's why you sometimes, when you get into that whole, free, free will thing, I'm like, it's not their free will that they have to live like that. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
there are
yeah.
times when I almost kind of feel a bit of guilt and shame, um, because it's just like, why do they, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
digress. But yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like politics. It's something that we really have no control over. I mean,
Yeah.
other than sending them love and light or voting, you know? Um, but
And even voting these days doesn't seem to, you know.
hey, Bora Bora,
Hey
we're
Janet, how you doing,
winding
sweetie?
down here. We're getting ready to trip the light fantastic.
What does that mean?
Huh?
What does
Just
that mean?
going on and being happy with our life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all you can do, really.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then just hope
Be
that
thankful. Yeah.
these lives change for these, other young ladies,
Yeah.
and people around the world. Um, well, we didn't do any individual reads, but Nancy, did you want to do a collective for everybody?
Um,
We're at 6 o'clock, or did you want to still talk? I can still talk.
no, I just pulled a card right here.
Oh, okay. Let me.
And I think it has to do it's very simple. Trust your wisdom.
Hmm.
Wise owl. Mhm. So we need to trust our wisdom and the wisdom of our ancestors that comes through us. if we allow it.
I kid you not. Now the card's called the Exile. Well, I pulled from my Witch Oracle, Woman in Total Control of Herself,
Uh-huh.
and I have the Exile, and it's basically a woman in a boat. She's leaving something behind her, but that beautiful moon is shining over her, and the Exile is she's removing herself or being sent away for being who she is, standing in her truth, standing in her
Oh
power. But
my.
Nancy, look what's on her shoulder.
Oh, an owl. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. You can't make this stuff up, you know?
Mm-mm. The Exile.
That is
And I
beautiful.
don't have the book nearby me to elaborate, but just the point of, yeah, exile, removing yourself from what no longer, you know,
Mm-hmm.
serves your highest good. I mean, the owl's the wisdom. She knows that, you know,
Yeah.
it's time to move on, you know, and to trust in that wisdom. That's amazing how we both got it. I mean, owls are abundant in cards, yes, but at that time,
Yes.
oh my
Perfect. Perfect.
goodness. And
It's a
I also did, you know,
okay.
this also had flipped out too at one point, but I did get also the Sisterhood of Reciprocity. And so for me, this feels like, again, ancestral. We're all
Mm-hmm.
celebrating, we're all linked together, and we're all can bring, you know, change, you know, to this world. Though
Hey, Sonia.
sometimes, ooh, oh, hey, Sonia, Sonia Pignola. Um, so she came just in time for the card, the cards. So, alrighty, well, it's I got to figure out what's going on with this iPad. So
You gonna
I'm
try
not.
the stream?
Yes, I'm not even going to be able to end the stream. I can't move my everything is completely frozen except the video.
Huh.
This hasn't happened before. I hope my iPad's not on its way out.
Yeah.
That
Sounds like
would not.
crashed or something, huh?
Yep. So when we go to here to end, I'm just going to have to shut off my iPad and keep my fingers crossed. And hopefully the iPad shuts off.
Okay. Well, good night, everybody.
Now, Nancy, do you have anything coming up though this week that you want to share? Any collapse?
No, I do not.
Okay. And for me, the most part, taking the week off here too.
Yeah.
I might be back Sunday for Jeff. I haven't
Uh-huh.
decided yet for the poetry, but one way or the other, I will be back next Monday with Nancy.
All right.
All righty,
Well,
everybody.
until then.
All righty, have a great night, everybody, and a great week. And let's keep our fingers crossed that I can fix this on StreamYard. So, all righty. Bye,
Bye
everybody.
bye.
Bye, Nancy. Fingers crossed. Let's see. There we go. All righty. Okay, the screen is black. Okay. So thank you again, everybody. This should work now. I see everything. I just may need a new iPad soon. So thank you again, everybody. See you next week. Love you all. Bye.